Hey, thank you for joining me and welcome to Wake Up Wednesdays. So, wake up. You guys know what we do here on Wake Up Wednesdays. We check our GSD list, which is an outcome-driven list, and we make sure that we're making progress towards our outcomes. Because if we're not making progress towards our outcomes, let me take a guess. We go from meeting to meeting to meeting, we get to the end of the day, it feels like a blur, we're exhausted, and we didn't really make progress. There are people pinging us and calling us and emails and queries building up, and it just feels like a blur at the end of the week and we don't make progress. This is where we pick our heads up midweek, every week, and we wake up. We do that by having our outcomes written down here on the left side and then our to-dos on the right side, and then we map those two. It's not about to-dos, it's about outcomes. I want to talk to you guys today about an article that I posted in the group chat. I'm going to pull up my notes here to make sure I give you the most important details. And that article was entitled, "What are the risks of rolling out AI?" So by now, hopefully you're thinking to yourself, this AI thing is not going away. I heard that there's $500 billion being invested in data centers. All the big players in the space are talking about it. Elon Musk, Sam Altman. So maybe I should get on board with AI or some version of it in my company or my team, but what are some of the risks of implementing that? That's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to ask ourselves 5 key questions when we think about that risk. So the first question we want to think about is, how will you confirm the data quality? Now, as you know, these AI systems rely heavily on high quality data. So if you have incomplete data, outdated data, biased data, it's going to lead to inaccurate information, or what they sometimes call hallucinogen. So do make sure that your data is accurate, it's complete, it's robust, and it's up to date. Make sure you have data governance frameworks in place to maintain data integrity. The data governance framework is going to be key. Don't neglect the importance of the data processing piece, the data cleansing piece, the data governance piece. Don't assume that the data is available for use without being cleansed. So like we said in the beginning of the year, every meeting we're going to talk about some different AI tools that are popping up in the industry. And I'd love to know if you have experience with these tools, let me know. But one of those tools is called SaaS data management. They offer comprehensive data solutions. They ensure data quality, data completeness, and timeliness. They're going to facilitate robust data frameworks and help organizations maintain high quality standards. That's SaaS data management. So check that out. Let me know what you think. The next question, number 2, that you want to ask yourself is, what will be biased? What will be fair? Believe it or not, these AI algorithms, they learn. So you need to make a decision at some point. This is going to be a biased decision, or this is going to be a fair, or some people are going to think this is unfair. You have to train the data. There's a risk there. And what you want to make sure on the do is that you do regularly audit that information, and you want to use a diverse representation of data sets, also using synthetic data to train it. Don't overlook the need for transparency or let AI be totally involved in the decision-making process on what's fair and not fair, biased and unbiased. And don't rely solely on human oversight without a governance committee. You don't want a single individual making these decisions. So the tool here we're going to spotlight is IBM Watson's. So IBM Watson's OpenScale provides detect and mitigation management for AI models that have biases in them. I'll tell you a quick story. I was working with a very large organization, and we rolled out an internal only large language model generative AI chatbot that was for internal users only. And the idea was, after we made sure it was good for internal users only in a testing environment, we would then roll it out internally, and then we would make it available externally. But we stopped at the internally point. And the reason why we stopped, they made progress since then, but it's because we spent a tremendous amount of time with the manager, sitting down with the data, going through the data, training the model, talking about what was biased, what was unbiased, what was fair, what was unfair, what was a good answer, what was a bad answer. And these managers were surprised. They said, where did you get this data from? Where is it getting these answers from? And we said, it's getting answers from how your employees answered the data. We pulled the last 3 years of how client service employees actually answered the data, and it's taking the information from there. And the managers were shocked that their employees were actually answering the information that way. These were from client queries. So a tremendous amount of time is going to be going towards training the data model, making sure that it's fair, which brings us into the next question, number 3. How is it going to be ethical? Implementing AI raises ethical questions and legal challenges, particularly concerning data privacy, compliance, and regulations. So do make sure that as part of your governance committee that we talked about, that you have someone or some people ensuring that they stay on top of the laws and regulations and that you have a framework in place to ensure that you comply by them. Do not ignore ethical implementations and do not ignore regulatory reviews. But what's an AI tool that can help you with this? Now, help, not do for you, but help. It's something called NIST AI Risk Management Framework, AIRMF. That's NIST AI Risk Management Framework, AIRMF. This was developed by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. This AIRMF offers guidelines to manage risks associated with AI, helping organizations adhere to ethical standards and comply with relevant regulations. The 4th question you're going to ask yourself are, what are the integration challenges? Aside from the ethical and bias thing, this is very important. So you've decided on an AI model, you've decided on AI software, and you say, we're going to go with this, and you have governance frameworks in place to make sure it's ethical and it's not going to be biased and it's fair, but you have all these other systems that you've been using for years here. How are you going to integrate them is the question, not only from an integration perspective, but how are you going to train your people? You don't want to create resistance. If you have too much resistance, the tool will never be adopted. So do make sure you invest in training programs, training on not only the new system and your current system, but the integration of how they're going to work together. And you can do pilot programs. So you might take a couple key people from each department, say we're going to do a pilot in a testing environment. You gather that feedback before you start to roll it out. Pilot is very good. Don't underestimate the importance of the change management process. So changes come in, you want to see if you can adapt to those changes. You don't want to ignore them and say, well, this is what we're doing and this is what it does and that's it, get used to it. Don't want to do that. And you don't want to rush. You want to make sure you take your time and lay out a clear strategy. That might be, first we're going to do it in the pilot, then we're going to do it internal only, then we're going to do it to only these select businesses before we roll it out fully. So the tool that can help you with this is something called Central Eyes. Central Eyes. Central Eyes provides AI-driven compliance and risk management solutions that assist organizations into integrating AI into existing systems. It offers tools for continuous monitoring and management of compliance requirements, but also facilitating a smoother AI integration and adoption. That was Central Eyes. The 5th and last question you're going to ask yourself, we're saving the best for last. This is super important. What do you think it is? How will you secure it? How will you make sure that it is not vulnerable to cyber attacks? And how are you going to handle sensitive data and privacy measures? Very important. You want to implement robust cybersecurity protocols. You want to make sure you have robust entitlements. So that says the AI can see and access this data. The AI will never see, never access, or never spit out this data. I know that's an oversimplification, but that's very important. You want to assure data is anonymous where it needs to be anonymous and safeguard personal information. Do not overlook regular security assessments and do not assume that the software you go with that has AI is going to inherently know how to properly safeguard protocols. This is where you want to bring in some experts. So what's a tool that can help you with this? Something called robust intelligence. Robust intelligence. Robust intelligence offers AI risk management solutions that proactively protect organizations from AI-specific threats. Their tools measure and mitigate risk, ensuring security and reliability of the AI systems. That's robust intelligence. Okay, let's wrap that up to go like a deli order. While AI offers significant advantages, it's important to approach its implementation with care. You don't need to be afraid, you need to be aware. By proactively addressing these risks and leveraging appropriate tools, you can harness AI's potential while safeguarding your projects and products. So here's a quote for you guys to think about. By far, the greatest danger of artificial intelligence, AI, is that people conclude too early that they understand it. Think about that one. Towards call to action. Three very important things. As always, three very important things. Number one, conduct a comprehensive risk assessment. Evaluate potential risks associated with your AI in your business. Map that out. Number two, have a mitigation strategy. So it is not enough to just say, yes, we know these are the risks. How do you plan to address them? Real mitigation strategies, right? Not, we're just going to throw a couple $1 million at it or it's going to solve itself. Actual plans that can be executed, right? Including ethical guidelines and compliance measurements. Number three, engage stakeholders. Have that governance forum in place so not a single individual is making decisions. This single individual might be very smart, but are they going to be 100% accurate 100% of the time? Probability is not in their favor. You want to make decisions as a committee with your stakeholders, having key people in place to ensure relevant parties are in discussions about AI implementation and ensure transparency and buy-in. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for taking this opportunity to think about, I want to get on board with AI, but what are some of the risks associated to that? I hope you took this opportunity to wake up for Wake Up Wednesdays and that you feel invigorated to execute for the rest of your week. Remember to hustle harder, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.